Good afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle Hat Medium, and welcome back to our channel. And in this video or tutorial up for discussion today, we're going to look at claircognizance, exercises to improve that or just become aware of it. And then hopefully you'll give me some feedback in the comments, maybe like this video, share it, and welcome to all the new subscribers who've joined us and the watch time that continues to grow and grow. I am eternally grateful. Also, big shout out to a couple of individuals who are sharing my stuff all over social media. I couldn't thank you enough, and I'm so grateful that you thoroughly enjoy it. So in this video, like I say, we're going to talk about claircognizance. At times, my apologies for my back to the camera as I write. It's easier sometimes for people to understand when I draw because not everybody is literal in the fact that they're going to get it through speaking. So I draw it in order so you understand the interpretation as well. So for those who don't know what claircognizance is, or claircognizant, it is an ability to know that the spirit world is there. This is completely separate to clairsentience, clairvoyancy, these type of things. It's an individual knowing. So the best way I can get this to you is you will just know that somebody stood behind you, even if you haven't felt them or you haven't seen them or you haven't heard them. It's as if you want to look over your shoulder and you'll just know somebody's there, even though there's no other reason for you to think that there'll be somebody there. This one doesn't have any imagery with it. It doesn't have any sort of hearing to it, and it doesn't have any sort of impressing feelings upon you. So with clairsentience, you may grow, or with clairsentience, you may feel a heart attack. Claircognizance or claircognizant is an opportunity to just know that what you feel or what you're given is true, right, and accurate. And lots and lots of mediums never used to really work this way. Over the last 20 to 30 years, it's become more and more prominent and has now been pushed into the psychic faculty there of mediumship and mediumship development. And many have asked me for exercises on this one, so I had to pop on over, to the spiritual world there and have a bit of a nit-nat with them in order to get the best sort of understanding for you here on the channel. So these exercises are coming in straight from the spirit world. They are exercises that were given to me from my team, so hopefully they will be of benefit to you. So we have two that we want to look at today, and the first one is an element of one that will be done is sitting in the power. So when we're sitting in the power, of course, we are to be silent. We're not here to be using music and this type of thing. But what we would use is as we do the shift of the mind and we become aware of the spirit world, we would build in a particular seating object. So a seating object is basically a chair, a settee, whatever it is that you're going to become aware of. So as you shift your mind to the spirit world, you will then your imagination will make a chair of some description within the spiritual realms. And what you will then do is you will ask the guides. You will need your guides for this one, or helpers. Even if you know them or don't know them, these people will become available to you for this exercise and purpose. I would certainly put some intention in here first, so maybe give it 20 minutes, half an hour, and then, step two with this here as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask the guide or the helper to step forward and go to the chair. But we don't want to see the guide, we don't want to hear the guide, and we don't want to feel the guide. And as you're becoming aware of the chair, or as you are looking at the chair, you should be able to become aware or know that there's somebody sitting on the chair. And you won't know how you know that. What the spirit world may do is actually not so much take your clairvoyance off or the other clair range off, but they may, for the purpose of this exercise, dull it down a little bit so that we can basically develop this clair. So you're just going to become aware that there's somebody either beside the chair, maybe even sitting in the chair, whatever it is that you feel is important to be able to pick that clair up. Now, got to have a bit of a trust here with the spirit world on this one. You got to trust that, what you become aware of, what you know is true, right, and accurate. And it can be practiced and practiced and practiced until you sort of get this in place. Now, this one's probably one of the more easier exercises, I would say, for those out there in the industry, and especially if you're developing and you're sitting in the power and, doing all these types of things. The other one we can do is the one of the human world. So let me help you with that one. Let me just clear the board because it's easier than trying to work all over the board and it gets people a little confused. So this is that one, and hopefully you can adapt this, of course, to your sort of style. So you could actually give this to the spiritual team of yours, or guide, or helper, or just the spiritual realms. They will then adapt it, or your mind will adapt it in order for you to be able to get it. But this is the box standard understanding of it. So that's that one. So the next one is the one of the human world. So the best way to put this one, and it's one that it's a question I get asked an awful lot of the time. So people come to me and go, I was aware that there was somebody there, but I didn't know who it was. Or I got this sort of feeling that I was being watched, if that makes sense. That's another one. You know you're being watched, but you don't know how you're being watched. That's another exercise. So these are a couple for the earth world. And these can be done through your everyday walk in life. So, for example, when you're out and about, you know, doing your day-to-day tasks. So the best one is in queues. So you stand in the post office queue, in a supermarket, mall, for those who are in a, you know, different continent. And what you would do is because there's obviously that person there, and then there's you, and then we'll put another person there, then there may be you. You can become aware of how far this person is away from you. It's like, you know, when someone creeps up on you, but you don't get that. It's like an awareness. It's a knowing that there's somebody there. But when you, like I say, turn around, there's nobody there. But this one on the earth world can be done in respect of just being aware of what side this individual's standing on. So they may be standing right behind the back of you, they might be to the left of you, they might be to the right of you. And it's just using that knowing on the earth world without turning around of what side this shopper behind the back of you, on what side they may be. Now this can also be conformed and pushed over into the spirit world. So what we would do is, instead of using the people, we would use the guides. So again, we wouldn't use the chair or the sitting object for this one. So what we would do is we would take our mind to the spirit world and say to the spirit world, could the guides come forward? And we would then become aware of which side the guides are coming in. So are they coming in this way? I hope you can see that. Let me just drop that camera a little bit for you there. They're coming in from the back, or they're coming in from the side. And this is all done on that knowing. So if you're feeling this isn't working. So what we have to do is we have to know that it's there. Now, what does that knowing feel like? That knowing for me, as I work on this clear range, so I understand it, that knowing for me is just a knowing within me as an individual. It's just it's as if I had a download of information. It's as if something's being presented to me, but I don't know where it's being presented from. So I will have the information, but there will be no logic behind the back of that information. Like, there'll be no person standing behind the back of it, or there'll be no, if I was to do it psychically, there'll be no individual there. And it's the same with the spirit world. You are presented this information, or you're presented this energy, but you don't know who that energy is, or you don't know why that energy has produced itself in that way. Normally, so when we get a communication or when we get a guide through, we will become aware of that guide. The guide will start talking. We'll be starting to get loads and loads and loads of information, all in like sort of bits and pieces of communication. With knowing, it's like a download of this information, like a pocket of it with lots of little bits in. But then there's nothing behind the back of it. There's just this sort of knowing that information's right. When somebody's lying to you, you just know that they're bullshitting you. Do you know what I mean? You just know. Now, where does this know come from? It comes from the third eye. So for all those who are, you know, working on that third eye area, this will become more and more prominent. So it's coming from our seat of our intuition, is the claircognizant or claircognizance. That's the psychic ability. It's coming from here. So making sure that you're working this clair or that particular chakra is really important, or making sure at least your intuition is turned on is going to be really helpful for this particular exercises. So what I will say to you is it can be done on the earth world, and it can also be done within the spiritual realms. It takes a little practice. I've got to be honest, not every medium works this way. Some mediums do, not all mediums do. Some will work with this more predominantly, myself. Others will only use it now and again. Some may not use it at all. If you haven't got it, don't worry about it. For example, I'm not a big clairsentience medium, but I know lots of other mediums who are a big clairsentience medium. And every medium is unique, and every medium uses different clair ranges. So this is just an opportunity to explore it. For those who are already doing it, this may be an opportunity for you to develop it further. Or what I can say to you is always go to the spirit world and take these little bits and pieces and say, look, what can we do with this? How can we adjust this to blend in with my mediumship? Or how can you produce exercises for me with connections to learning this clair? And that's one thing that I have to say as well here. These are just my exercises. You can actually go to the spirit world and ask the spirit world to develop this clair for you. You can actually ask your guides to get involved and say, look, I'd really like to understand it, even if I don't use it. Could we understand it for the better of our ability? And the spirit world will always bring something forward for you in order to develop that and bring that for you in your communications. So there's about 4 hints of tips in there that will help you with this connection. Hopefully you'll like it. Hopefully it'll be of sense to you. Hopefully let me know if you're practicing it, how it works for you. I'd be really interested to know. And, have fun. Working with the spirit world is meant to be fun. We're meant to be having a good time. Don't get me wrong, we've got to be professional when we're doing communications, but development should have some element of fun to it. It should have some excitement to it. It should have the joy to it. It shouldn't be very strict and regulated and, it takes the fun out of it. And the spirit world I work with is really fun, really happy, really jolly, and really sort of the fun to work with, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. But that's just my experience. But I hope you are all having that same experience as well. So in this video, up for discussion today, we've looked at claircognizant or claircognizance exercises. Let me know how these resonate for you. Give the video a thumbs up. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Have a great day. Bye for now.